good morning, evening, or afternoon, whichever one's going on for you at this current point in time. And yes, I brought the intro back. Today we're going to be talking about something that I just got in the mail today. Very excited because the Gardner Bender pliers or strippers that I usually use were so trash. I was looking for them for the sake of the video. I probably threw them in the trash already because they just weren't very good. So, since you already know the title of the video, you already know what's in here, but let's do it. Here we have three types of wire. We have 18 stranded, 14 stranded, and 12 solid. For those of you who call stranded, congratulations. Otherwise, I call it feathered. You can also call it that, or multi-wire. So there's different ways to say it, but it's all the same. 12 solid, the reason I use that is because it's typically what you're going to see in a lot of residential applications. Over here, 14 stranded is what you're going to see in a lot of the very affordable options for light fixtures. A lot of the light fixtures like to use stranded because you can just kind of wire it in with a wire nut, and that'll be the end of it. If you're going to be doing that, and I'm not telling you, again, this video is just about the tools. It's not telling you to go touch electrical stuff. Leave that to a professional. That is not my problem, okay? Warning aside, okay. So 14 stranded is going to be for that. And then you have smaller applications for smaller light arrays and lighter applications, like for some automotive lighter applications. So with that being said, let's get right into the juice. So first of all, I want to give a thank you to America Tools. They got me my package here, safe and sound, and insured and tracked just in case, because lots of theft out there, lots of people stealing packages, and that kind of sucks. Oh, look at that. These are the 1372/8s from Knipex, otherwise known as their 8-inch forge strippers. That is very nice. Does 10 to 20 gauge, so for these particular applications, absolutely no problem. I just want to rip into this thing. It's smart. They actually have 3 tabs at the bottom, but they actually laminate the rest, so if you're trying to steal their pliers, they'll know that you got into the package. That's pretty smart, honestly, because these things go for just over 60 bucks. I understand why people steal them, and I understand, well, sorry about that. I understand why Knipex would be worried about theft, especially in this day and age. Look at these. Just to compare them to like my side cutters, just going to compare them to a couple more of my Knipex tools. I mean, these linemans are heavier. I'd say in terms of weight, they're probably dead on at the feeling of the Cobras. So about there. Let's try the water pump pliers. These are bigger. Yeah, these are heavier. So yeah, I'd say right on the money with the 10-inch Cobras as far as weight. Very nice. I don't feel like I'm going to get like tired of holding these. So let's get that little unlock right there. Love that. Flip the little switch. They spring open. Nice sharp blade. It's got the zoom in action. It's got your numbers right here, stranded and solid. So, I know y'all are not here for the ooh la las. Y'all are here for does it suck or not. So, let me get straight into the cutting. Let me clean this up a little bit. Last couple things I want to point out is that, one, the 6 and 8 32 holes, these are for you to get those screws in and give them a snip. You just grab the handle, squeeze, and you can shorten those to the length that you need. With that being said, moving up to the tip, it's not like your standard, let me grab something off of the back here. Your needle nose pliers are the standard types of tips you see on a lot of strippers. They're very needle nose like at the tip. Your Crocs, your Kleins. This one's actually like a mini lineman, which is very nice because you can twist up the cables without needing to have a second pair of pliers with you. Now, as an electrician or somebody working on electrical, you do want a good pair of linemans with you anyways, but this eliminates the need to reach into your bag for the smaller applications. And the absolute awesomeness is that if I close these pliers, you don't see it now, but when I close the pliers, you see that little hole right there? Oh yeah, that's for creating your loops. I was looking at this thing like the only thing stopping me from getting it is I don't see the hole to make loops perfectly for residential stuff. And it's right there built into the lineman head. I mean, of course, you could, in theory, use one of the bolt cutter holes, but you don't want to risk like you accidentally, grab your wrist, squeeze it a little bit, and when you're twisting, you actually score the conductor, and now you have to clip it off and start over. So the fact that it's dedicated right there is an awesome touch. But enough talking. Here we have some black 18. Goes into the 18 stranded, and you squeeze and you pull. So let's just test our cutter really quick. Go right into the blade, give it a little squeeze, like butter. Goes back into the 18. Doesn't matter if you go through the back or through the front, the blades are still the same. Line it up. Trying to get the light to hit this because it's not really reflective on these materials, but 18 goes in. And you just turn at an almost 45 degree angle, 40 degree angle. Just kind of go away and down, and it's nice and smooth. Just to show you no gimmicks, again, 18 gauge white goes in. Yes, not clip, not nothing. There is conductor in there. Goes in. And that's all there is to it. Next, we got our 14 gauge. Not a problem at all. Simply give it a quick cleaning. Start from square one, right where you are. Go for your 14 stranded. Squeeze. Make sure the blade is contacting on all sides. And the reason I hated the Gardner bender back in the day was because you had to really twist the wire, twist the pliers. It killed your wrist. It was more work than the wire was worth. So you simply take it, follow the groove that is on the pliers, and you pull. Sorry, I elbowed you there. Again, no gimmicks. Same thing on the white. 14 insulated. Make sure you find the stranded side, not the solid side. And I am way too close to this camera. I keep bumping you, sorry. And that's all there is. Now, of course, you're not going to be stripping that much off usually, but it's good to know. Nice smooth motion. And because of the lineman pliers, if you needed to twist up a couple of these strands, typically with stranded, I'd rather use my fingers. It's a lot gentler, but if you had to do that with solid core, these linemans get a great grip. And if you needed to make a loop with them, you simply wrap around and you make your loop. Obviously, it looks funny like that, but that's all there is to it. And probably what I am most excited for is the 12 gauge. Again, it does go down to 10, so if you're doing things like stoves or washing machines or anything that goes up to 30, 35 amps that needs to be designated on a 30 amp 10 gauge circuit, that is a specific thing. You have to check the code. If you're in Canada, use the CEC. If you're over in America, the NEC. So keep that in mind. So you just go down to 12. You grab your, however much you need in terms of depth. You squeeze and you pull. Super clean. And just because I love testing that loop maker, grab it right at the tip. Give it a quick turn. Just turn the conductor right around and you have your hook. Obviously, you need to clip a little bit more, but this is just for the sake of showing you, yes, it does work. And just to show how it would apply in the real world, most people are going to be residential installations with a 15 amp switch. Again, I have no 14 solid, so I'm just going to be using, for the sake of the demonstration, 12. Give it a quick clip just to keep the blade guessing. We're going to strip off probably about that much.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, interesting, because this is gasoline and oil resistant, it has almost an extra layer of coating, so that you really have to get along, because if not, it kind of leaves some behind. What's good is it doesn't like kill the actual conductor. You just need to be very careful about making sure it gets through all the insulation. Good thing to keep in mind. But again, that may be more of a user error than a quality control issue. So we grab it, then we twist it, and that is so silly looking. I'm actually not in the habit of doing this like while looking through the viewfinder, so I'm actually finding that I'm stripping out way less than I think I need. So I'm going to actually give myself the working room. Now that's an actual usable hook, and that would just go right around the conductor screws or the terminal screws. And what's good about this is if you happen to turn too much, these linements are so grippy. Look at the textures inside. They are not playing games. So if you need to open it up or close it up a little bit, you could always squeeze the head if you wanted to crush it a little. Get them in the right position and make your pigtail or make your connection. And just as a quick side note for anybody who is not sure how much they need to be stripping, most light switches like so, or receptacles or outlets, are going to have a depth gauge. So if you look behind or on the side, they will usually have some way of having a little indent or a little gauge. You simply match up your length to it. You can score it with your nail or just bring your thumb right up to your tool and you know how much to get rid of. Sound easy? Still not me telling you to do it, just saying if you are, it's there. Okay, elephant in the room. Do I dislike anything about these pliers? Absolutely. Let's start with the price. No, I'm just kidding. But apart from, being a little over $60, it is what it is. I mean, you can get great pliers for $30 to $40. The Klein ones, Klein has glow-in-the-dark ones. The Racketeers Crocs seem to be really nice. I've seen a lot of bad reviews as well for the Crocs, so I'm not entirely sure. I have not used those. However, as far as the residential applications and smaller applications, I don't see why this wouldn't be something that's awesome for you to have. Super comfy, locks in your hand, opens up, plenty long for you to just cut any cables you need. Has that beautiful lineman head, so there's no issue of me barely getting a grip the way I would with some needle noses. And if for whatever reason I had to take two or three conductors from a circuit, I could easily with this lineman just line it up and give them a good twist. Obviously I'm not going to do it hard because there's no need, but being able to actually control them, get a good bite, and really twist them up to make sure those wires don't separate before wire nutting them, and then giving them a little cleanup with the blade. So the whole point of these ridges are to actually easily allow your wire to kind of fall into that groove. So when you're stripping, it comes right down to those sizes. Now they're very clear and very clean. However, as far as my applications, they've been kind of getting hung up. And they will actually shred a lot of the stranded stuff. I've seen a lot of people say these are the best on the market, but a lot of the times they're really using them for solid core. Now with 12, I didn't really have any issue, but a lot of the stranded stuff gets really hung up on this aggressive blade. Now I will say, last night I was up at like 12, 1, 2, technically this morning, just stripping and stripping. This is not including any of what I was doing yesterday. But the one thing I do have an issue with the pliers is the cutting mechanism usually sits like that. So this belly of the blade, you have to basically extend your fingers to be able to open it, especially when you're cutting 12-2 Romex or 14 Romex. You're not just sliding it down the blade like you would with open style blades that are just open and ready for that cut. You have to keep adjusting your grip from cutting to open to cut and then back to stripping. So that's pretty annoying, but if you're a lefty, lock, if you're using it like this, you can still access the lock from the inside and from the outside. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, that annoying having to kind of keep opening and closing my grip. Don't like it. So that's something you're into. You might want to pick these up. This is not paid promo. This is me. If you like something else, absolutely go for something else. Knipex makes good stuff. And I haven't had any issues with my stuff. But there is no perfect one solution. It's just about what's more comfortable for you. Because remember, at the end of the day, if you can't hold or enjoy or work with your tool for 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour a day, they're not for you. Regardless of how much they cost, regardless of how fancy people you think because they're a big brand, no. If you use dollar store products and they work for you and they make you a lot of money, fantastic. If you need the absolute most expensive stuff, Snap-on, Festool, etc., then, it is what it is. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, work smart.